When I gave up my iPhone, there was a part of my soul that just was like crying in the corner. It's like, but I want it so bad, and I can think of 20 reasons why I need it. Hey guys, I wanted to share something with you today because I had somebody reach out to me recently and ask about electronics and how we deal with that as guys who are trying to stay away from pornographic images, how we stay away from social media and different things that could potentially trip us up. And trust me, I totally get it. I had my first computer experience when I was like 12 years old, so that's been 40 years ago now. And I have a degree in computer science, so I'm a huge computer nerd, love technology. However, I get where it can be a real challenge, especially when you know better than the programmers that that developed some of the stuff that limits access, how to get around it. And that drive to look, that curiosity of testing the fence. Think about the first Jurassic Park movie where they talked about the raptors testing the fence to find a way to get out. And that part of me, that I refer to as the cockroach, is always looking for a hole in the fence. Now, he's pretty weak cockroach in my life anymore because he hasn't had much access, but that cockroach is going to continue to look for ways to get fed. So, what are some good ways? What are some ways you can manage to get around, to deal with modern life and stay clean or at least limit some of your access? So my very first recommendation is get on my website and download my free guide, which talks about how to eliminate a lot of the images that just pop up in your browsers. Okay, you don't have to have all of those images coming at you all the time. You've got to throw on an ad blocker. There's a extension that works in both Chrome and Firefox that eliminates images from a web page. You really don't need to see them most of the time. There's also a new tool in Chrome called Distill that will distill the page down to just what you need to see. It's not 100%, but it's better than saying, well, I need to go to this website to read something and having all kinds of extraneous images that could potentially trigger you. So start off, go to my website, download my free guide. Second, consider downgrading some of your electronics. I worked in a technical job for many years with a slider phone. Get a feature phone, get a flip phone. I do not have a data plan. So I use ting.com, which allows me to not have a data plan. You may not be able to do that, but at least consider it. And just understand, I know this is going to be the case. When I gave up my iPhone, there was a part of my soul that just was like crying in the corner. It's like, but I want it so bad, and I can think of 20 reasons why I need it. And I didn't really need it, but my routine wanted it. And because I wanted it so bad, I kept justifying why I needed it. So now I have a GPS. When I need to, I check, I still have a clock on here. I got from a friend of mine, I got his GPS watch for when I go exercise. And I have one of the old iPod, it's not a Nano, but it's one of the old iPods. And I use that in my car for my music. So you can survive without it. You can live in this technological world without the latest, greatest thing. So consider downgrading. That's one thing to do. Another thing to consider is setting some barriers on those devices you have. Now, I open this up by saying sometimes there's loopholes. And especially if you have administrator access to a device, there's a lot of loopholes. But Covenant Eyes is getting much better at how their tool functions, especially on smartphones, definitely on the iPhone, where it's beginning to take screenshots at random, and it uses the VPN to do that. Open DNS or clean DNS, both of those, for you technical guys, domain name server, you know exactly what I mean. For you not technical guys, go look up clean DNS, Delta November Sierra. What that allows you to do is, at least within your home and on some of your devices, you can set basically a phone book that has all of the bad stuff filtered out. And so that would be a tool, especially like if your PlayStation or your Xbox or some other device in the house, the smart TV, it's not something you take out of the house, but it could be a potential access problem. And the DNS stops everything as it comes into your house. So consider that. Another place to go look, and I know this is going to, again, it's going to touch on certain things in our flesh that say, but I'm a grown man and I shouldn't have to do this. But there's a website called protectyoungeyes.com. Protectyoungeyes.com, parental controls we recommend. Chris McKenna has done an excellent job of putting together a bunch of tools to help parents keep their kids away from certain technology. And you know what? It happens to work for adults too. So those are some barriers that you can set from a software standpoint. Something else you might want to do, and this is where you need to get creative, okay, that limit some of your access. You can give your smartphone to your spouse when you come home from work. You can leave it in your vehicle at night. If you're one of those people that like me used to get phone calls at all hours to support people on their computers or to handle some problem, this is a great opportunity to have some work-life balance. Leave your phone in the car. If you don't need it to talk to anybody tonight, leave it in the car. Leave it, somewhere where it's not easily accessible. I even heard stories of a guy who bought a safe with a timer lock on it, and he would put his phone and his laptop in that safe no later than 8 p.m., and it wouldn't open again until the next morning at 6 a.m. And that was a way that he used to keep those devices from being regular access. Again, that won't necessarily be easy, but it may be the step you need to take to break that reliance on something that you truly don't need. And maybe you can take it one step further. Maybe you can eliminate that device from your life. If you can eliminate the device from your life, think about some of the freedom that's going to give you. You don't have to keep track of it. You don't have to keep it charged. You don't have to pay for whatever service that it uses. And you can have some peace without having that device in your life. May or may not be possible, but also consider that when you're buying new things. That I've been at Best Buy recently, and they sell refrigerators with browsers on them. They're starting to sell other devices that have built-in web browsers. Do you really need a refrigerator that can browse the web? Probably not. You've probably got plenty of access elsewhere, and standing around on the refrigerator and looking things up is probably not healthy anyway. So that's one thing, is eliminate it. Maybe what you need to look at is, can I do this process another way? Oh, well, I can't survive without my phone because it gives me directions when I'm out of town. Go buy a cheap GPS. I have a $100 GPS. We navigated Europe. We've navigated all over the United States with a cheap GPS. Haven't gotten lost, haven't died. So, well, other than one time, and that's a completely different story, but that was really on me, the driver, when I tried to, it was in the UP of Michigan. There's not a lot of things up there. So anyway, we'll jump off of that topic. Mostly what I want you to consider, let me wrap up by saying this. Consider finding something bigger. to do with your life. Yes, electronics are cool. Yes, you can do all sorts of neat things with them. You can play games all day long. You can interact with people all day long. But is it really great living? You know, we went on vacation recently, and this is not an American problem. This is an everybody problem. We watched a family from France come in. They all sat down at the dinner table, and they all got out their phones. Here they have traveled halfway across the world to see some really neat vacation areas in the United States, and they're back on their phones. They're not interacting with each other. And so is it really a family gathering if nobody's really talking to one another, nobody's interacting with one another? You know, so there's an opportunity there. Get to know your family, interact with your children, interact with your spouse, put the device away for a little while. Find some healthy hobbies. Maybe if you're a single guy or you don't have kids or whatever the reason, go learn a new skill. Learn how to play the guitar by actually playing a guitar instead of, you know, learning the keystrokes on your device. Go take a cooking class. Go to the dog park. Go do something so much bigger than that screen. You know, the screen is going to suck your life away, and I don't think, you know, that there's that old adage that, you know, on your deathbed, most people won't say, "I wish I had worked more." You know, I don't think many people are going to, on their deathbed, say, "Boy, I wish I had gotten to the next level of Angry Birds," or whatever the game is right now. See, I don't even know what games are popular anymore. But live a big life. Your devices are always going to call out to you. And there's that part of our brain that just wants to get fed, you know, and that's the cockroach saying, well, you know, if you don't feed me, you're not going to feel okay. You know, what if your friends ask you about, hey, did you watch this show, or did you download this app, or why don't you have the latest, greatest, whatever? You can say, well, I don't want technology to dictate my life. And, you know, that can be your new identity, is the guy that's not letting technology dictate how he should live. And so that you know, could be pretty cool. I'm actually okay with my little dumb phone. I get to hang out with people, and at some of our family gatherings, people are on their phones, and I'm just kind of watching them and able to interact with them in a completely different way. I get the challenge. I get that. It's so tempting to say, you know what, this moment's boring. I'm going to play a game. Sometimes boredom is good for us. Sometimes boredom, sometimes silence in our head. You know, think about all the stuff on meditation right now, saying how important meditation is. Some of that silence in our head could be really healthy for us. So I know some of you are probably going to say, but Jay, you know, I'm a Linux administrator and I've got to have the most up-to-date phone, or people are going to think that I'm not professional in my job, whatever. That's fine. Again, leave the phone in your car. At home, get a Windows computer. I know it's sacrilege for me to say get away from Linux, but Linux has a whole bunch of problematic issues in that as the super administrator, you can do anything you want. There's no way to block Linux. Maybe you need to consider giving that up in that whole idea of downgrading. Again, maybe you need to set a barrier on that device. Maybe you need to limit access. Maybe you can eliminate it altogether. But most of all, go out, live a big life. Enjoy all of those benefits from that job that you're working, and not just continue to stay engaged with that little tiny screen that's kind of sucking your life away. All right, thanks guys. That's what I wanted to share today, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.